Welcome back everyone. We've got two TT bikes in today. They are Quintana Roo. Personally, I've never heard of them, but wow, they look cool, don't they? So we've got two bikes in. This is the customer's old race bike. He's never going to use it again, he told me, but he wants it right just for sentimental reasons, in case he fancies a blast on it one day. A couple of issues on it. Headset's extremely loose. Back wheel's got a big problem as well, I think, so we'll have a look at those and see what else it needs. Then we have his actual race bike as well. So this is due for a race in 6 days time, so no pressure, let's get it ready. The only thing we've got really on this one is the customer's fitted an adjustable stem just to see if he can find a more comfortable position. But the brake cables are not long enough for its full range of adjustment, so we need to fit some longer brake cables so we can play around with that a bit more, find a comfortable position. Also needs a new chain and cassette as well, so we'll do that and see what else it needs. So there's probably nothing major between the two apart from this back wheel on the flame one, but we'll have a look what we've got and see if we can make a video for you. So let's get cracking. Let's make a start on the race bike then. So this is full 10-speed SRAM red. I've already taken the cassette off because I need to order a new one, so make sure I order the right one, so that's why that's not fitted. Full 10-speed SRAM Force red, however it's got Ultegra cranks on it, some of the older Ultegra, so that's interesting. Maybe been changed at some point in the past. I've never seen this bike before. Something you don't see very often, Ultegra hubs, older cup and cone ones, most Shimano cup and cone I think until very, very recently. So these rims call themselves ProBikeGear.com. I don't know if it's a carbon fairing on an aluminium rim, I'm not sure. They're quite nice though, nice and straight as well. Nice calipers these are, very nice. The gear lever is awesome, click up and click down. Amazing, never seen these before to be fair. Zip, very nice. Front one is more of a push and pull one though. But yeah, they're super nice. I have tried it before, took the cassette off and it's shifting very, very nicely, even though the cassette is way over its 1%. So new cassette and chain. The main issue at the moment is this adjustable stem the customer's fitted. It's not a permanent fixture by any stretch of the imagination, but he's just trying to find a better position, and this is a good way to do it. But when we try and raise it above here, basically this brake cable is too short, so it's locking the brake on. So you need to extend at least the front brake cable housing and potentially the rear, so we can raise this up more and he can get used to it basically. So the first thing we're going to do is change this housing. Internally routed through this bar, it shouldn't be too bad. I'm just going to nip this up into a one position for now. I'm not a big fan of these, but I think the customer got the right idea. Rather than just going out and buying 20 different stems, just try one, get used to where you want it, and then buy the one that it's telling you is comfortable for you. That's a good idea. So I've already unwrapped this just to get to the back of the cable. It's only a little bit of tape. So there's a cable there. So basically we need to disconnect at the front brake, pull this through, replace this housing. We are going to use a cable tool obviously so we can put the new housing through the bar with a bit of ease. Let's just crack on with that. Just cut this off here. We're going to replace this cable while we're here as well. So it's going to be too short anyway because it's very short there. By the time we put a longer housing on it, it's definitely going to be too short. So, no hydraulics here. Nice good old-fashioned rim brakes. Right, so it's just a matter now of pulling the any cable out. These Vision brake cables have a very special cable that's unique to themselves. Very expensive as well. There's a red end to it. It looks very much like a gear cable, but it's thicker than a gear cable. At a push on a race day, I guess you could potentially use a gear cable if you don't have one of these, but I wouldn't recommend it in the long term. Like I say, it's the same end. This is 1.5 millimeters, and the gear cable is 1.1 millimeters ish. So it looks the same, but don't use one. You could also use a road cable with a nipple sort of ground off potentially as well, but it might weaken the cable, so just stick with the OEM cable. Next we need to pull this housing through. Just unhook it from the lever, take the cap off. Use a cable pulling tool. Just screw that into that, like that. And then we're just going to pull that through the bar. And then that just pulls straight through the bar there. There you go. Then just leave this tool inside the bar, obviously. So I've got a new piece of housing here. It's about 3 inches, 4 inches longer. So 75 mil to 100 mil, I guess. I'm using compressionless housing as well, so it's going to give you a sharper lever feel. Basically compressionless housing. The internal strands run this way instead of a spiral wound on a normal brake cable, so you're not basically compressing the spirals when you're braking. It gives you all the power to the caliper, so it's a lot more expensive than normal brake cable, but it does definitely give you a much nicer lever feel. So I'm just going to pull this through now. It's great if you're using cable operated disc brakes. That's where you would really use this for. Like I say, it's a bit more expensive, well, quite a lot more expensive than most. So. Right, let's just pull this through now. Right, if you notice some continuity errors here, this is the third time I'm filming this, so I apologise. Alright, just push and pull this. Try not to pull too hard, because what you don't want to do is pull this out of the cable. It's more of a pushing than a pull, and it will go through. It's a very sharp bend here, especially this compressionless housing. It's a lot more rigid than a normal brake hose, so it does take a bit more jiggling to get through. Probably easier to pull it the other way, really, to be fair, but it will go. So this is the third time I've done it, so I know it goes. There you go. There she is, through there. Good. Because it's the third time, it means I've already cut my very expensive new brake cables. So I'm hoping I can get that back through again. So end cap back on here. In there, and then locate that into the lever. It's a bit difficult because it's a very sharp bend to locate this in, but it does go. Again, compression, this is making that more difficult as well. So I'm just pushing that through and basically twisting this through to try and line it up a bit better. Like that. There you go, that just dropped in there, you saw that. Other end obviously just drops into there, but I'm going to put the cable through first, make it a bit easier, because like I say, I've already cut it. So, right, and there you go, just thread that through the new housing, like that, and then through the caliper. Right, squeeze these calipers on now, give you the cable. Obviously perfectly cut length because I've already cut it. I was messing around with, I've got a little external monitor screen now for my camera to make life a lot easier. I pressed the wrong button and it didn't record. I've done it again. Yeah, one day. Video 100, I'll know what I'm doing by then. Obviously cable end cap, just to finish her off. There you go. Right, feel that lever. Absolutely beautiful that is, oh my god. Right, now I'll show you the benefit of doing that. So now we can adjust this stem to a adjustable position, more upright, and you'll see this is more than long enough now to accommodate that. So if you even went to sort of crazy extremes like this, you've still got enough length in this one here. The rear one is actually plenty long enough as it is, so we don't need to do that one. So I'll set this somewhere in the middle, just tighten it up. So the customer's going to be playing with this himself to get a more comfortable angle, I'm saying, but get comfortable on a tri-bar, debatable. So that's that bit done then. I'm just going to wrap this little piece up here. It's not ideal to re-wrap bars, but on such a small piece like this, it's not really a problem. I'm not going to re-wrap 3 other pieces just for the sake of this. And just take that back on again. Easy. I'm hoping that's recorded, third time lucky. Right, so chain and cassette next. So I'll just take the chain off first, because it's going to be a bit easier to get this wheel out because we've got rear facing dropouts on this one. Just take that off. Keep that to measure. We've already checked. If you're using the old chain to measure, make sure you check big, big, small, small, make sure it looks okay. Don't just rely on what was on there before. So I've already checked that. Undo the quick release on the brake first. This wheel will just slide out dead easy now. There you go. Nice frame these are. I'm not familiar with the brand at all, but the guy's got 2 of them, so they're nice. I like them. Let's get this new cassette fitted then. Little Ultegra cassette there. Nice. It's a little bit on the loose side. That's an Ultegra cassette, Ultegra chain set on a SRAM system. Works fine. Alright, so 10-speed Shimano chain going onto this, so we've got a bit of a mix and match, but generally they're pretty good. 10-speed Tiagra, don't use that, because that's just a nightmare stuff, honestly. You can't mix and match 10-speed Tiagra. Shifters and derailleurs are pretty much unique to each other, even within the Shimano hierarchy, they're not compatible with each other, so they're a nightmare. Alright, so a new chain and cassette on, let's just go through these. Yeah, it was working beautifully before, so look at that. That's beautiful. And that's down at the small chainring at the front. Capacity's fine down here. Good. Such a nice lever that is. It's got really nice action on it. It's shifting beautifully. That's fantastic. Alright, not touching that. Good stuff. I really don't think this bike needs a great deal more, to be perfectly honest with you. There's no issues with any bearings. Wheel bearings are fantastic. Bottom bracket is fantastic. Front wheel bearings, again, are lovely. Just going to add a little bit more tension to this front brake on the barrel adjuster to match the rear. That's exactly the same now, good. And headset wise, also feels fantastic, so I think this is good to go, to be fair. Like I say, there's only a couple of little minor tweaks it needed. Sorting this brake out so we can play with this stem and new chain and cassette. So let's call this one done and move on to the next one. So moving on to the second bike, it's got a massive issue with this headset. There's a huge amount of play in this. More than you would expect to take out with the adjustment. I mean, you can see that's just ridiculous. Look at that, you can hear it as well as see it, but that's a lot of play, that is. So that's more than you would expect to see just through a loose headset. So we'll strip it down and see what's going on in there, because that doesn't look good. Let's just take this wheel out first. That don't weigh much. Right, so when I'm dropping the fork out, I normally just put my work stool underneath it so it doesn't completely fall out onto the floor. Then we can start taking the stem out. It might just need tightening up, but it would just feel very, very loose for what I'd normally expect. The steerer might be too long and it might just be bottomed out. So it might just need another spacer. Let's get this out and have a look what's going on. Nice old fashioned, nice old time stem here. I like it, this is a big one, isn't it? I like it. Plug and a half. This fork's way too short, oh my god. Crikey. Our fork is way too short. We should be sort of 3mm below the top of the stem here, and we definitely shouldn't be below this bolt here. In the worst case, you should be sort of level with the bolt. This is completely below it. This fork is way too short for this stem, or for this spacer. Can't leave it like that. Alright, some of these spacers are going to have to come out. Let's take these out and see what's going on. I think there's just 3 spaces here. We're going to have to take one of these out to get this to the right size. We'll potentially put one that's slightly smaller in. That wasn't very tight either. Crikey. Sketchy as. There's basically only one bolt been holding this onto the bike. I know he's never going to use it again, but let's get it safe. Even with the slack taken out the headset there, it's still below that bolt, so it's no good. The bearings are in good condition, there's plenty of grease on them. It's a bit brown, but they feel fantastic. And the bottom one, check that. I'll just cut this off, that's in the way. And the bottom bearing here, that feels fine as well, nice and clean. Good. Still got grease on there. That's good. Right, I'm just going to clean this top cup up because it's getting a bit manky. Right, drop this fork out a little bit and just clean it up. It's just a bit of dirty grease in here, nothing else. Like I say, I don't think this bike's ever getting ridden again, but let's get it right. Right, so I'll put these 3 spaces back on first, put the stem on, tighten it down correctly and see where it sits, but it does look a bit short. Well, a lot short. Jesus, there's no way. There's no way that's pulling that back up. Right, one of these spaces has got to come out. At least one. Let's take that out. So now it's too long, which is kind of what I was expecting. So I've got 1.5 the size of this we'll put in the bottom. This one's half the thickness of that one. And we should be about there then. Crazy, how long has it been like that? Let's drop that in. Drop that on. Looks a bit more plausible. Let's tighten her up and see where we get to. The problem is this is so long, it's bottoming out on the top of the expander that's in here, so I think that's why it's been set like that, half the problem. So we need to drop this expander down further into the fork so we can clear that. That's tight. And put this further down the fork so we can get that, not that far down. Come back. So we can put the expander, oh my god, just fell right down there now. That's what picks are made for. Come back. There you go. So we've just got to get enough depth in here and tighten it. So that's the expander there. I'll just pull that out. So this basically was just set too high in the fork. We need to set that a bit lower so that this can sit, so we can have a gap between that and tension the actual fork headset. So I've just got to get this in without dropping it down the fork, which is proving slightly challenging. Right, somewhere. Oh, for this is why the newer ones rest on top of the fork. Right, I'm going to try a different socket that's hopefully going to hold it a bit better. So this Wearer socket will hold this in. while I set it to where I want it to, which is about there. Just going to get it to bite now there, that's the next problem. Right, so it's basically spinning, so I'm just wedging the other bit in place while I start tightening this, and then it will grab itself in. Right, there you go. So I've got that. Okay. Now this will clear that, and we can hopefully tension the headset with this massive bolt. I'll screw into there. See if we can, well, we'll definitely get it tight. I just want to see how much fork we've got in the stem then after that. A bit more than there was before, hopefully. Right, that's good. Take my chair out of the way. That feels good. There's no play there at all now. Beautiful. So what we're going to do, just nip these up lightly, take this back out and see what it looks like. I can't believe how badly that was set up. Dangerous. So just nip these up loosely, we're not finished yet, and then I'm going to take this out. What you want to see is the fork sort of 3mm below the stem. Ideally I still want a fraction more, that's just a little bit, I mean it's sort of level with the top of this bolt, but it's just a little bit short for me. See if we've got a different spacer. Right, I don't have any carbon ones in that size, but we've got a black one, so that'll have to go in for now. Let's get this right, and that'll just half that gap again. So we're just going to take this off again and swap it out with that one I've just put in. And we should be about there. Take that out. Put this one on. And drop that in. Alright, let's tighten that back up again. That feels pretty sweet. Good. I'm just going to nip these up very gently and take that out again. Right, I'm happy with that now. That's about 3mm, 2 to 3mm where it wants to be, so we can go for final assembly. Let's get this stem somewhere straight now. I'll check it when it's on the floor, but I can normally get it pretty good. There we go, about there. This is preset to 5 Nm. Done. Alright, so headset sorted. Yeah, I thought it was going to be too long, but it's actually way too short. I've never seen one that bad before, but it's super dangerous to ride it like that. Okay, good. Alright, so the next issue on this is this wheel. It's got some play in this bearing here, and you can see it. So I'm going to have to get this out, get this free hub off, and see what's going on with this. There's 2 lock nuts here, so potentially there's 2 matching ones on the other side. This is an old American classic hub, so you didn't see many of these. Let's get it out and see what's going on. Just get this cassette off, see what's happening. Something not quite right in here. Tubular tyres on this as well. I see virtually 0 tubular tyres in here. I think this is the second one in 3 years actually. There we go. Right, just swapping this cassette over to the other bike. This is pretty much brand new as well, so we've changed 1128 onto the race bike. And the 1225 that we just fitted the other one is going on this wheel, but it's fine. They'll both work because capacity in both I've checked. Right, so what is going on in here? I'm playing the whole thing there. I'm not sure there's a cartridge or cup and cone. I'll have to take them apart and see what's happening. Guessing the cartridge. Let's have a look. 2 19mm on here. 2 cone spanners on this because one's just not quite gripping this soft aluminium nut. Let's see if we can crack this off now. There you go. Someone's already had a go at it before and started to round it off, so you gotta be careful with this. It's very soft. Yeah, it's just aluminium, don't weigh anything. Not sure what my chances of finding instructions for this hub are online. Pretty slim. This doesn't pull off, and there's no hex sockets in the end of the axle like there sometimes is. And there's just no flats at all on this end of the axle, so I'm just gripping it with these Snipex parallel pliers at the moment. I'm taking this other 19 off, which is coming off. Let's see what happens, but right, that's coming out there like that. Good. Almost off now. That's off. There's a seal here. Yeah, it's just cartridge bearing, so I think that was just a preloader for this axle. So potentially just needs those tightening down, but just got to work out how to hold the other end properly, because you can't do it like that. Yeah, it's in really good condition there. Look at this free hub here, half the spring's sticking up. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. Very unusual design. Right, I'm going to go and have a look online, see if there's any information about this hub, because I don't want to break it. The bearings feel great, to be fair, so yeah, the bearings all feel good. I think it's just preload, but I'm just got to check this spring. I'll be back. So unsurprisingly, there is zero information out there on a 16-year-old Planet X wheel. I didn't think there would be. But having a closer look at this, there's actually pawls in here where that spring's engaging. So it's got sort of a double ratchet system. It's got pawls on the outside of every hub, like you'd expect. And then that spring is catching on these here. So it's actually quite a clever design. There you go, look at that. There you go in it. Look at that. It's actually really clever. Probably massively over-engineered. Look at that. Nice. So what I'll do is I'll put this back in. I'm going to clamp this end into the soft jaws, and then we'll just balance this on the lock nuts, and that should be fine. Like I say, the bearings feel beautiful, so I don't think that's an issue. It's just come loose on the lock nuts a little bit. So let's get that in the vise. Clamp the end of the axle in these aluminium soft jaws. Drop this wheel back over there. Engaged in there, no problem. Now we're just going to put these on with that seal. Actually really nice wheels, but you wouldn't want to be truing this because it's got internal nipples on a tubular tyre. That is it's literally the worst thing you can possibly have. Oh my god. I'm never truing this wheel, that's for sure. Alright, let's just get this tightened down. Internal nipples are one of the worst designs I've ever come up with. Let's just nip this up. That feels good there. Like that. There's no play there whatsoever now. Beautiful. So that's all it needed. Actually a really nice wheel. But no, I wouldn't be truing that wheel. Just so you know what I'm talking about, normally you'd be able to see spoke nipples here, which obviously you could attach to true. The spoke nipples on this are internal into the wheel, so you've got to access them from the inside of the rim. This is a tubular tyre that's bonded on. So to get to the spoke nipples, you've got to unbond this tubular tyre, true the wheel, put the tyre back on, inflate the tyre. Bearing in mind, if you do a tubular properly, it can take 3 or 4 days to glue a tubular tyre back on, depending on how you do it. You can use tapes and whatnot, but the traditional way is you let the glue go off, and it takes a couple of days, basically. And then when you inflate the tyre again, quite often what happens then is when you inflated it, it puts the wheel out of true. So then you'd be there for another week, taking the tube off. Oh my god, forget it, absolutely never happening. Worst design ever. So I'm just going to put this 1225 cassette onto this bike here now. This is the new cassette. Like I say, I've just changed the other one, which also appeared to be brand new, onto the other bike. So it's a bit of chopping change. But for a show bike, it's a bit irrelevant what cassette ratio you put on here, to be fair, but it's good to go should you ever feel the need to go out on this with the flames and everything. I actually really like it. I know I put the post up and people are like, oh my god, what's that? I actually really like it. This is 10-speed Ultegra cassette, so I'm getting either hard to find or very expensive, especially in some of the more specific ratios like this 1125. They seem to be obsolete on Shimano's website, Madison. There are some kicking around, but you're paying prices for them. You can get a 105 10-speed cassettes, but the ratios are slightly different. You can't get the 1125 in 105. So this is what we've got. Alright, let's get this on. Okay, back in the bike. Alright, let's get this back in. So you don't see many rear facing dropouts like this, but actually not too bad. You don't chop your fingers off. And there's obviously chain tensioners here to, well, not chain tensioners, but tensioners to centre the wheel and the dropout if need be. Alright, that's in. Have we got any play? No, we do not. Perfect. Good, that's that sorted. Sounds good as well, doesn't it? Let's see if these gears actually work. It's hard work on TT shifters and the stand. Alright, there we go. Not bad, that's big, so you've got loads of capacity in this radio here. That's down. And small. Small, we're okay. Obviously you shouldn't be in that gear anyway, but it works. Front shifting is nice as well. Actually really good. Full friction shifter, so you don't need to trim it manually like that to get rid of the noise. No indexing. And we'll go back up the cassette. There we are there. Actually really nice. Good. Integra brakes as well, so these are upgraded Swiss stop pads as well. These are nice. I think these rims have got a bit of a reputation from what the information I can find of wearing out pretty quickly, so it's never going to get used anyway, so alright, that's sweet. Give it a bit of a wipe down when I've been attacking the headset. Right, so cool. How do we think they've done this then? Is it painted on by hand? It can't be, it must be, I don't know. I mean, it's paint, it's not a sticker. I don't know. I don't know if it's hand painted or not. I think they look quite cool though. Cockpit wires are all good, brake levers feel nice, shifters we've just gone through. Bar tape's actually in really good condition, and we know the headset's good as well. So I think that is probably about all this bike requires. You can hear the wind, I've got the workshop door open and it's getting a bit windy here, so apologies. Right, tubular on the front as well. It's a bit low, let's get some air in that. Yeah, 10 psi. Rather you than me, guys. Well, how can anyone ride these things? I don't know. Like I say, there wasn't a great deal needed doing, a few little bits and bobs, especially that headset on this one, that was crazy. I'll tell the guy about that, but he'll probably see the video anyway. So I'm not sure if this is going to make it to a main Saturday video. I think it's going to end up a bit short because there wasn't a great deal wrong with them, even between the two bikes, but a few interesting bits and pieces. So I'll probably drop it as a midweek thing. So I think I'll be dropping memberships for the channel shortly. So if anybody wants to join that and to help support the channel going forwards, welcome aboard sort of thing. I'll be early access to videos and stuff like that, like the usual sort of membership perks that other channels offer. So yeah, see where we go with that and stay tuned for plenty more. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.